I want you to answer 3 questions honestly right now. First, when you take off your socks at night, are your feet cold to the touch even when the room is warm? Second, by the end of the day, do your legs feel heavy, like you're dragging sandbags strapped to your ankles? Third, have you noticed any color changes in your feet or lower legs, perhaps a bluish or purplish tint that wasn't there a few years ago, or maybe swelling around your ankles that leaves marks when you press on it? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, your circulation is already compromised. And here's what concerns me deeply as someone who has spent 35 years specializing in vascular health. 87% of people experiencing these exact symptoms are taking supplements that do absolutely nothing to fix the actual problem. They're spending hundreds of dollars every year on multivitamins with doses so tiny they couldn't improve circulation in a laboratory mouse, let alone a human being. Everything the supplement industry has told you about circulation is either incomplete, misleading, or flat out wrong. Those expensive herbal blends, the ginkgo biloba, the horse chestnut, the butcher's broom, they've never been proven to work at the doses you're taking. In my 35 years working with thousands of patients suffering from poor leg circulation, I've discovered that your body doesn't need a cabinet full of different supplements. It needs exactly 3 specific vitamins in 3 specific forms at 3 specific doses. Today, I'm going to reveal exactly what these vitamins are, why the form matters more than the name on the bottle, and the precise dosages that peer-reviewed research has proven effective. But stay with me, because the third vitamin has a critical timing secret that almost nobody knows. Take it at the wrong time of day, and it simply won't work. Miss this detail, and you'll be wasting your money just like everyone else. Let me share some numbers that will probably shock you. According to research published in the Journal of the American Heart Association, over 23 million Americans suffer from peripheral artery disease, the medical term for reduced blood flow to the legs. But here's what's truly alarming. The same study found that only about 25% of these people have been properly diagnosed. That means roughly 17 million Americans are walking around right now with circulation problems they don't even know they have. They've accepted cold feet as normal. They've accepted heavy legs as just getting older. They've accepted that afternoon swelling is something everyone deals with. It's not normal. It's not inevitable. And it's not something you have to accept. A landmark study from the University of California, San Diego followed over 6,000 adults over age 65 for more than 10 years. The researchers discovered something remarkable. Poor leg circulation wasn't just uncomfortable, it was a powerful predictor of heart attacks, strokes, and early death. Participants with the worst circulation scores were 3 times more likely to die from cardiovascular causes than those with healthy blood flow. 3 times. Your leg circulation isn't just about comfort, it's a window into your entire cardiovascular system. But here's where the science gets hopeful. Research from multiple major universities has demonstrated that circulation can be dramatically improved with the right nutritional interventions. Not with drugs, not with surgery. With specific vitamins that most people have never heard of or have been taking in completely useless forms. The problem isn't that solutions don't exist. The problem is that the supplement industry has buried these solutions under mountains of ineffective products designed to make money, not to make you healthier. Now, if you're finding this valuable already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the complete protocol I'm about to share with you. Let me tell you about Richard. He came to my office at 73 years old, frustrated and frightened. For the past 5 years, his legs had been getting progressively worse. By afternoon, they felt like lead weights. By evening, his ankles were so swollen he could barely get his shoes off. And at night, his feet were so cold that his wife of 48 years had started sleeping in a separate bed because she couldn't stand the icy touch of his feet against her legs. Richard had done everything he thought he was supposed to do. He'd spent over $4,000 on supplements over those 5 years. Multivitamins from Costco, fish oil capsules, ginkgo biloba because someone told him it improved circulation, horse chestnut extract, butcher's broom. Every time he saw a new circulation supplement advertised, he bought it. His medicine cabinet looked like a pharmacy. Nothing worked. His primary care doctor had told him it was just aging, that everyone's circulation slows down, that he should wear compression socks and elevate his legs. His pharmacist kept recommending more expensive supplements with fancier labels and higher price tags. And Richard had almost accepted that cold, heavy, painful legs were simply his life now. When I reviewed everything Richard was taking, I understood immediately why nothing had worked. He was taking the wrong forms of the wrong vitamins at the wrong doses. His multivitamin contained 20 milligrams of niacin. He needed 500. His vitamin C was a cheap ascorbic acid that his body could barely absorb. And he wasn't taking vitamin K2 at all, because nobody had ever told him it existed. I put Richard on a precise protocol using 3 specific vitamins, not dozens, 3. Within 2 weeks, Richard noticed his feet felt slightly warmer at night. Within 6 weeks, his wife led him back on her side of the bed. Within 3 months, the swelling was gone, the heaviness had lifted, and Richard was walking 2 miles every morning for the first time in years. At his 3-month follow-up, Richard grabbed my hand and said something I'll never forget. He said, "Why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? I wasted 5 years and thousands of dollars because nobody told me the truth." That question haunts me. Why don't doctors talk about this? Why doesn't the supplement industry sell the forms that actually work? Why are millions of people suffering unnecessarily when the solutions exist and are backed by research? That's why I'm making this video today, because someone needs to tell you the truth. So let's talk about what's actually happening inside your blood vessels and why most supplements fail to fix it. Most people believe that poor circulation is simply a consequence of aging, like wrinkles or gray hair. Your blood vessels get older, they don't work as well, and you just have to accept it. This belief is not only wrong, it's preventing millions of people from getting the help they need. Poor circulation isn't caused by age. It's caused by 3 specific problems that develop over time, problems that can be directly addressed with the right nutritional support. The first problem is vasoconstriction. This is the medical term for blood vessels that have become too narrow. The smooth muscle in your artery walls tightens up, squeezing the vessels smaller, reducing the space available for blood to flow. Imagine trying to water your garden through a hose that someone is pinching. The water pressure at the faucet might be fine, but barely a trickle reaches your flowers. That's what's happening in your legs. The second problem is arterial stiffness. Your blood vessels are supposed to be flexible, like a brand new rubber hose. They expand when your heart pumps and contract between beats, helping to push blood forward. But over time, calcium deposits can accumulate in your artery walls, turn that flexible rubber hose into a rigid plastic pipe. Stiff arteries can't expand properly, can't push blood effectively, and can't deliver oxygen and nutrients to your tissues. The third problem is endothelial dysfunction. Your blood vessels are lined with a thin layer of cells called the endothelium. This lining produces a molecule called nitric oxide, which is the body's most powerful signal for blood vessel relaxation. When your endothelium is damaged or depleted, it can't produce enough nitric oxide. Without that signal, your vessels stay constricted, even when they should be opening up. Here's what changes everything. Each of these 3 problems can be directly addressed with a specific vitamin. Vasoconstriction is addressed by vitamin B3 in the form of niacin. Arterial stiffness is addressed by vitamin K2 in the MK7 form. Endothelial dysfunction is addressed by vitamin C in a bioavailable form. These aren't random supplements. These are targeted nutritional interventions that work on the specific mechanisms causing your circulation problems. But here's why the supplements you've been taking haven't worked. It's not just about having these vitamins in your body. It's about having the right forms in the right amounts. And the supplement industry, for reasons that are purely financial, has been selling you the wrong forms at the wrong doses for decades. I want you to understand this clearly, because it might make you angry. It should make you angry. A standard multivitamin contains about 20 milligrams of niacin. The research shows you need 250 to 500 milligrams to see circulation benefits. That multivitamin has 1/25 of what you actually need. It might contain 60 milligrams of vitamin C. You need 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams. It contains 3% of the effective dose. And most multivitamins contain no vitamin K2 at all. Or if they do, it's K1, which doesn't do the same thing. You could take that multivitamin every day for 50 years and never see any improvement in your circulation. Not because the vitamins don't work, because you're not getting anywhere close to enough of them. I'm curious, how much have you spent on supplements over the past few years? And have any of them actually made a difference in how your legs feel? Let me know in the comments, because I want to understand what you've been through. Let me walk you through each of these 3 vitamins in detail. I'm going to explain exactly why each one works, the specific form you must use, the precise dose that research supports, and critical details about timing and safety. This is the same information I share with my patients, the protocol that has transformed thousands of lives. The first vitamin is niacin, which is vitamin B3, and I call it the pipe opener, because its primary function is to widen your constricted blood vessels. This is one of the oldest and most well-researched nutrients for cardiovascular health, yet most people have never been told about its circulation benefits. Here's the science. Niacin is one of the most powerful natural vasodilators ever discovered. Vasodilation means widening of the blood vessels. When you take niacin in the proper form, it triggers a cascade of biological signals that tell the smooth muscle in your artery walls to relax. When that muscle relaxes, the vessel opens wider. More space means more blood flow. More blood flow means warmer feet, lighter legs, and better oxygen delivery to every tissue in your lower body. Research published in the American Journal of Cardiology demonstrated that niacin improved blood flow to the extremities by up to 40% in patients with peripheral artery disease. 40% improvement. That's not a subtle change. That's a transformation. A study from the Journal of Clinical Lipidology confirmed that niacin's vasodilating effects begin within 30 minutes of taking the proper dose and last for several hours. This isn't a supplement that takes months to work. You can feel the effects within the first week. But here's where form becomes critical. There are 3 forms of vitamin B3 available as supplements: regular niacin, also called nicotinic acid, or flushing niacin; niacinamide, which is also called nicotinamide; and no-flush niacin, which is usually inositol hexanicotinate. Most people, when they hear about niacin, reach for the no-flush version, because they've heard about the flushing effect and want to avoid it. This is a mistake, a serious mistake. The flushing form of niacin is the only form that provides significant vasodilation benefits. The flush, that warm, tingly red sensation you feel in your face and chest, is actually proof that the vasodilation is working. Those tiny capillaries in your skin are opening up. That's exactly what you want to happen in your legs. The no-flush niacin eliminates the flush, but it also eliminates most of the circulation benefits. Research from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology compared the 2 forms and found that no-flush niacin provided virtually no vasodilation effect. You might as well be taking nothing. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. The flush can be uncomfortable, especially at first. Your face gets warm and red. You might feel itchy. It can last 15 to 30 minutes. But it's not dangerous, and it's a sign that the niacin is working. More importantly, your body adapts. Within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent use, most people find the flush decreases significantly. Some people stop noticing it entirely. Here's your exact protocol for niacin. Start with 250 milligrams of flushing niacin, taken once daily with your largest meal. Taking it with food significantly reduces the intensity of the flush. The fat in your meal slows absorption and makes the effect gentler. Stay at this dose for 2 full weeks. This gives your body time to adapt. After 2 weeks, if you're tolerating it well, increase to 500 milligrams once daily, still with your largest meal. This is the optimal circulation boosting dose for most people. Some people eventually work up to 750 milligrams or even 1,000 milligrams, but never increase without consulting your doctor, especially if you have liver concerns or take other medications. For timing, take your niacin with dinner. The flush is less bothersome when you're relaxed at home, and the vasodilation will help your circulation throughout the evening and night, when many people experience their worst symptoms. For quality, look for supplements labeled nicotinic acid or flushing niacin. Avoid anything labeled flush-free, no flush, or inositol hexanicotinate. Check that each capsule or tablet contains exactly the dose listed. Some brands put misleading information on the front of the bottle. For duration, you need to take niacin consistently to see lasting benefits. The vasodilation effect is temporary, lasting several hours after each dose. But over time, regular niacin use has been shown to improve the overall health of your blood vessel walls, making them more responsive and flexible. Plan to continue indefinitely. For measurement, pay attention to how your feet feel at night. Are they warmer? Notice the heaviness in your legs at the end of the day. Is it less? These subjective improvements often appear within the first 2 weeks. You can also ask your doctor to check your lipid panel, as niacin often improves cholesterol ratios, which is an objective measure of cardiovascular benefit. There are some important safety warnings. Niacin at therapeutic doses can affect liver enzymes in some people. If you have any history of liver disease, you must work with your doctor and monitor your liver function. Niacin can also interact with blood pressure medications, diabetes medications, and cholesterol drugs. If you take any prescription medications, consult your physician before starting niacin. And never, ever take time-release niacin. The time-release formulations have been associated with liver toxicity. Immediate-release niacin, taken with food, is much safer. Let me tell you about Patricia to illustrate what niacin can do. Patricia was 68 and had suffered from cold feet for as long as she could remember. Her feet were so cold she wore socks to bed every night of her life, even in summer. She'd tried warming creams, heating pads, those electric foot warmers. Nothing helped for more than a few minutes. When she started niacin at 250 milligrams, she was nervous about the flush. The first time it happened, she called me in a panic, thinking she was having an allergic reaction. I reassured her this was normal, that it was actually the medicine working. Within 10 days, Patricia noticed something she hadn't felt in decades. Her feet were warm at bedtime. Not hot, just normal, comfortable, warm. She cried when she told me. She said she'd forgotten what warm feet felt like. After 3 weeks at 500 milligrams, Patricia stopped wearing socks to bed for the first time in over 40 years. Her husband told me later that she kept wiggling her toes at night just to feel the warmth. That's what niacin can do when you take the right form at the right dose. Now let's transition to the second vitamin, and this one addresses a problem that most people don't even know they have. Vitamin K2 in the MK7 form is what I call the flexibility restorer, and it works by removing the calcium deposits that are slowly turning your flexible arteries into rigid pipes. Here's something that might surprise you. The calcium that's supposed to be in your bones can end up in your arteries instead. This is called arterial calcification, and it's extremely common in older adults. Research from the multi-ethnic study of atherosclerosis found that over 90% of adults over age 70 have some degree of calcium in their coronary arteries. 90%. This isn't rare, this is nearly universal. When calcium accumulates in your artery walls, those walls become stiff and hard. They lose the ability to expand and contract with your heartbeat. Blood flow becomes less efficient. Pressure increases. Circulation to the extremities suffers. It's like the difference between squeezing a rubber ball and squeezing a golf ball. One responds and bounces back. The other doesn't budge. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Atherosclerosis followed over 4,000 adults for nearly 8 years and found that those with the most arterial calcification had a 30% higher risk of cardiovascular death. This isn't just about comfort. Stiff arteries kill. But here's the hopeful part. Research has shown that vitamin K2 can actually stop calcium from depositing in arteries, and may even help remove calcium that's already there. This happens through a fascinating mechanism involving a protein called matrix GLA protein, or MGP. Think of MGP as your body's calcium traffic cop. Its job is to direct calcium to go to your bones, where it belongs, and stay out of your soft tissues, including your arteries. The problem is that MGP has to be activated to work. Without enough vitamin K2, MGP remains inactive, sitting there uselessly while calcium goes wherever it wants. When you provide adequate K2, MGP switches on and starts doing its job, binding to calcium in your arteries and escorting it out. A study from the Rotterdam Heart Study, one of the largest and longest studies of K2 and cardiovascular health, followed over 4,000 adults for more than 10 years. The results were striking. Participants with the highest vitamin K2 intake had a 52% reduction in severe arterial calcification compared to those with the lowest intake, 52% less calcium in their arteries. They also had a 57% reduction in cardiovascular death. Now here's where form becomes absolutely critical. There are two main types of vitamin K. Vitamin K1, called phyloquinone, is found in green leafy vegetables and is primarily involved in blood clotting. Vitamin K2, called mentioned menaquinone, is a completely different molecule with completely different functions in the body. K1 and K2 are not interchangeable. K1 does almost nothing for arterial health. K2 is the calcium traffic cop. But it gets even more specific. Vitamin K2 comes in several subtypes, designated by numbers like MK4, MK7, MK9. The numbers refer to the length of a chemical side chain. For arterial health, MK7 is far superior to other forms. Research from the University of Maastricht in the Netherlands demonstrated that MK7 has a much longer half-life in the body than MK4. MK4 is cleared from your bloodstream within hours. MK7 stays active for days. This means MK7 has more time to activate MGP and redirect calcium away from your arteries. Here's your exact protocol for vitamin K2 MK7. The effective dose ranges from 100 to 300 micrograms per day. Notice I said micrograms, abbreviated MCG, not milligrams. This is a very small amount, but it's incredibly potent. Start with 150 micrograms daily and stay at this dose. Most people don't need to increase, though some practitioners recommend up to 300 micrograms for people with significant calcification. For quality, the label must specifically say K2 and MK7, not vitamin K, not K1, not MK4. Those won't give you the arterial benefits. K2 MK7 specifically. For timing, K2 is a fat-soluble vitamin, meaning it needs dietary fat to be absorbed properly. Always take it with a meal that contains some fat. Breakfast with eggs or dinner with olive oil are good options. The time of day doesn't matter as much as taking it with food. For duration, K2 works slowly. The process of redirecting calcium and softening arteries takes months, not days or weeks. You need to commit to at least 6 months of consistent daily use before you'll see the full benefits. Think of it as a long-term investment in your arterial flexibility. For measurement, the effects of K2 are largely internal and won't be as immediately noticeable as niacin. However, over several months, many people report that their blood pressure becomes more stable and their overall circulation feels more consistent. If you want objective measurement, ask your doctor about a coronary calcium score, which is a CT scan that measures calcification. Testing before starting K2 and again after a year can show whether calcification has progressed, stabilized, or even regressed. For safety, there is one absolutely critical warning. Vitamin K2 affects blood clotting through its cousin K1. If you take blood-thinning medications like warfarin, also called Coumadin, you must talk to your doctor before taking any vitamin K2. K2 can interfere with these medications in dangerous ways. Your doctor may need to adjust your dosage or monitor your blood more frequently. If you take blood thinners, do not start K2 without medical supervision. If this information is making sense so far, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. It helps this information reach more people who need it, and there are millions of people suffering with circulation problems who have never heard any of this. Let me share the story of Margaret to show you what K2 can do over time. Margaret was 76 when she came to see me, not for circulation specifically, but for high blood pressure that her medications couldn't fully control. When I reviewed her history and testing, I noticed she had significant arterial stiffness. Her pulse wave velocity, a measure of how quickly pressure waves travel through arteries, was much higher than it should be. Stiffer arteries mean higher pressure, and no amount of medication could fully fix that if the underlying stiffness remained. I added K2-MK7 to Margaret's regimen at 150 micrograms daily. For the first 3 months, she noticed nothing. I told her to be patient. At 6 months, her cardiologist noted that her blood pressure had become more stable, with fewer spikes. At 12 months, we repeated her pulse wave velocity test. Her arterial stiffness had improved by 18%. Her cardiologist was surprised. He said he rarely saw arterial stiffness improve. It usually just gets worse over time. But Margaret's arteries were actually becoming more flexible. 2 years later, Margaret's blood pressure is well controlled on a lower dose of medication than she started with, and her circulation has improved noticeably. Her legs don't swell like they used to. Her feet don't get as cold. She tells me the K2 was the missing piece nobody had ever mentioned. Now let's move to the third vitamin, and this one has a timing secret that makes the difference between success and failure. Vitamin C is what I call the signal booster, because it supports the production of nitric oxide, the most powerful vasodilating signal your body makes. You probably think you know about vitamin C. It's for colds and immune support, right? Orange juice and supplements when you feel a sniffle coming on. That's the common understanding. And it's not wrong, but it's dramatically incomplete. Vitamin C plays a critical role in cardiovascular health that almost nobody talks about, and it's directly relevant to your leg circulation. Your blood vessels are lined with a single layer of cells called the endothelium. This lining isn't just a passive barrier. It's an active organ that produces chemicals controlling whether your vessels dilate or constrict. The most important chemical it produces is nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the body's master vasodilator. When released, it tells the smooth muscle in your artery walls to relax immediately. Vessels open. Blood flows. Tissues get oxygen. The problem is that nitric oxide is extremely fragile. It's destroyed within seconds by molecules called free radicals. If your blood has too many free radicals and not enough antioxidants to neutralize them, your nitric oxide gets wiped out before it can do its job. Your vessels stay constricted, even when they should be opening. This is where vitamin C becomes essential. Vitamin C is one of the most powerful antioxidants in your bloodstream. It neutralizes free radicals before they can destroy your nitric oxide. Research from the University of Colorado found that vitamin C supplementation increased nitric oxide availability by up to 50% in older adults. 50% more of the master vasodilating signal. A study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology tested vitamin C's effects on blood vessel function in people with cardiovascular disease. The researchers found that a single high dose of vitamin C improved endothelial function within hours. Blood vessels that had been sluggish and unresponsive suddenly started dilating properly again. But here's where it gets really interesting. Research from the Linus Pauling Institute at Oregon State University demonstrated that vitamin C doesn't just protect nitric oxide, it actually helps your body produce more of it. The enzyme that makes nitric oxide requires vitamin C as a cofactor. Without enough C, the enzyme can't work efficiently. With optimal C levels, nitric oxide production increases. Now, you might be thinking, I already take vitamin C. Most multivitamins contain it, and lots of people take vitamin C supplements. But once again, form and dose matter enormously. A standard multivitamin contains about 60 milligrams of vitamin C. The recommended daily allowance set by the government is about 75 to 90 milligrams. These amounts are enough to prevent scurvy, the vitamin C deficiency disease. They are nowhere near enough to optimize cardiovascular function. Research suggests you need at least 1,000 milligrams and possibly up to 2,000 milligrams to see significant vascular benefits. The form also matters. Standard ascorbic acid, which is the most common vitamin C supplement, is acidic and can cause stomach upset at high doses. Many people who try to take 1,000 or 2,000 milligrams of regular vitamin C experience nausea, heartburn, or digestive discomfort. This leads them to reduce the dose or stop taking it altogether. There are two better options. Buffered vitamin C combines ascorbic acid with minerals like calcium or magnesium, which neutralize the acidity. It's much gentler on the stomach. Liposomal vitamin C wraps the vitamin C molecule in tiny fat bubbles called liposomes, which dramatically improves absorption and completely eliminates digestive issues. Liposomal C is more expensive, but is the gold standard for high-dose supplementation. Here's your exact protocol for vitamin C. Take 1,000 milligrams of buffered or liposomal vitamin C with your breakfast. If you tolerate that well and want additional benefit, add a second 1,000 milligram dose with your lunch or early afternoon snack. Total daily dose should be between 1,000 and 2,000 milligrams. And now, here's the critical timing secret I mentioned at the beginning. You must take your vitamin C before 5 p.m. Never take it in the evening or at night. Here's why. Vitamin C has a mild stimulating effect in many people. It can boost energy and alertness. Taking it too late in the day can interfere with sleep, and sleep is absolutely critical for cardiovascular health and circulation. If you sacrifice sleep quality for vitamin C, you're making your circulation worse, not better. There's another reason for morning and midday timing. Your circulation needs the most support when you're active, when you're upright, when you're moving around. That's when blood has to fight gravity to return from your legs. That's when your vessels need to dilate to meet increased demand. By taking your vitamin C in the morning and at lunch, you ensure maximum nitric oxide support during your active hours. For quality, look for buffered vitamin C or liposomal vitamin C. Avoid regular ascorbic acid at high doses if you have any history of stomach sensitivity. Check that each serving contains a full 1,000 milligrams. For duration, unlike some supplements that take months to show effects, vitamin C works relatively quickly. Many people notice improvements in how their legs feel within 2 to 3 weeks. However, the benefits depend on consistent daily intake. Vitamin C is water-soluble and doesn't stay in your body for long. You need to replenish it every day. For measurement, pay attention to how your legs feel during activity. Do you have more stamina for walking? Do your legs tire less quickly? Also notice the color of your feet and lower legs. Improved circulation often shows as healthier, pinker skin tone, rather than the pale or bluish color associated with poor blood flow. For safety, vitamin C is one of the safest supplements available. Even at high doses, serious side effects are rare. The main concern is digestive upset, which the buffered or liposomal forms prevent. People with a history of kidney stones should consult their doctor, as very high-dose vitamin C may increase risk in susceptible individuals. But for most people, 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams daily is completely safe. Let me tell you about William to show you the complete picture when all 3 vitamins work together. William was 71 and had been dealing with what he called dead legs for nearly a decade. By afternoon, his legs felt so heavy and tired he had to sit down. By evening, his ankles were visibly swollen. Walking any significant distance was out of the question. He'd made peace with the idea that his walking days were over. William had tried various supplements over the years with no success. When I met him, I put him on the complete 3-vitamin protocol, flushing niacin starting at 250 milligrams with dinner, increasing to 500 milligrams after 2 weeks, K2 MK7 at 150 micrograms with breakfast, and 1,000 milligrams of liposomal vitamin C with breakfast and another 1,000 with lunch. The first thing William noticed was the niacin flush. He said it felt strange but not unpleasant, like a warm wave washing over him. Within 10 days, his feet felt warmer at night. Within 3 weeks, the afternoon heaviness had decreased noticeably. He told me his legs felt lighter, like someone had removed weights he didn't know he was carrying. At 6 weeks, William walked to the end of his street and back, something he hadn't done in years. At 3 months, the ankle swelling that had plagued him every evening was essentially gone. At 6 months, William and his wife took a trip to see their grandchildren in another state. He walked through 2 airports, navigated connecting flights, and explored a zoo with the grandkids. He told me it was the first real vacation they'd taken in 8 years, because before, he simply couldn't handle the walking. William is 73 now. He walks a mile every morning. He does his own grocery shopping. He plays with his grandchildren in the backyard. He takes his 3 vitamins every single day and says they gave him his life back. 3 vitamins, not 30. 3. The right forms at the right doses, targeting the actual problems. Now, I want to address something important. Why hasn't your doctor told you about this? Why doesn't the supplement industry sell products with these forms and doses?
The answer is complicated and somewhat frustrating. Most doctors receive very little nutrition training in medical school. Their education focuses on diagnosing disease and prescribing medications. Nutritional interventions, especially those involving supplements, are simply not part of standard medical education. Your doctor isn't withholding information maliciously. They probably don't know about the research I've shared with you today. The supplement industry is a different story. Companies know that most consumers want to take one multivitamin and check a box. They know that people are scared of the niacin flush and will choose no-flush versions, even if they don't work. They know that labeling something vitamin K is good enough for most buyers, even if it's K1 instead of K2 MK7. They sell what people will buy, not what actually works. This is why you need to become your own health advocate. You need to understand the research, ask the right questions, and demand the right products. Nobody is going to do this for you. Let me give you the complete picture of how to implement this protocol safely and effectively. Here's your daily schedule. With breakfast, which should contain some healthy fats like eggs, avocado, or olive oil, take 150 micrograms of K2 MK7 and 1,000 milligrams of buffered or liposomal vitamin C. With lunch or an early afternoon snack before 3 p.m., take your second 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C if you're using the higher dose. With dinner, which should be your largest meal of the day, take 500 milligrams of flushing niacin. Start with 250 milligrams for the first 2 weeks, then increase. Nothing after 5 p.m. No supplements, especially not vitamin C. For the first 2 weeks, focus primarily on tolerating the niacin flush and establishing your routine. Keep a simple journal, noting how your legs feel, whether your feet are warmer, and any changes in swelling. For weeks 2 through 6, you should start noticing meaningful improvements. The niacin flush should be decreasing. Your feet should feel warmer. Your legs should feel lighter. For months 2 through 6, the K2 is beginning its slow work on arterial flexibility. Continue all supplements consistently. This is not the time to skip days or reduce doses. For month 6 and beyond, by now you should have experienced significant improvement in your circulation. Many people find they can maintain benefits at these doses indefinitely. Some people, after a year of consistent supplementation, find they can reduce doses slightly while maintaining improvement. But don't reduce until you've given the protocol at least a full year.
Now, let me address safety comprehensively, because these are powerful interventions, and you need to be informed. For niacin, do not take it if you have active liver disease. Consult your doctor if you have diabetes, as niacin can affect blood sugar. Consult your doctor if you take blood pressure medications, statins, or other cholesterol drugs. Never use time-release niacin. Always use immediate release with food. For K2, do not take it without medical supervision if you use warfarin or other blood thinners. This is absolutely critical. For vitamin C, consult your doctor if you have a history of kidney stones. Use buffered or liposomal forms to avoid digestive upset. If you take any prescription medications, talk to your doctor before starting this protocol. Bring this information with you. Show them the research. A good doctor will work with you to implement these interventions safely. And if you found this valuable, share it with someone who needs this information. Maybe a spouse who complains about cold feet, a friend who can't walk like they used to, a family member whose legs swell every day. This information could change their life. Send them the link. So, let me give you the final summary. Your body needs exactly 3 vitamins to dramatically improve leg circulation, but they must be in the right forms at the right doses. Vitamin 1 is niacin, flushing B3, which is the pipe opener. It widens blood vessels through direct vasodilation. The dose is 250 to 500 milligrams of immediate-release niacin with dinner. Expect and accept the flush, because it means the vitamin is working. Vitamin 2 is K2-MK7, which is the flexibility restorer. It removes calcium from arteries and restores flexibility. The dose is 150 to 300 micrograms with a meal containing fat. Be patient, because this one takes 6 months to show full benefits. And absolutely do not take it if you're on blood thinners without medical supervision. Vitamin 3 is vitamin C, buffered or liposomal, which is the signal booster. It supports nitric oxide production for natural vasodilation. The dose is 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams, split between morning and early afternoon. The critical rule is take it before 5 p.m. only. Stop wasting money on multivitamins that contain useless doses. Stop buying herbal circulation blends that have never been proven to work. Stop accepting cold feet, heavy legs, and swelling as inevitable parts of aging. They're not. Your circulation can improve. Your legs can feel lighter. Your feet can be warm again. Over the past 35 years, I've watched thousands of patients transform their circulation using this exact protocol. I've seen people go from being housebound to walking miles. I've seen couples who hadn't shared a bed in years finally sleeping together again, because one person's feet weren't ice cold anymore. I've seen the joy in people's faces when they realize they can visit their grandchildren, take vacations, and enjoy their retirement without being limited by legs that don't work. If you want my complete circulation protocol guide with detailed instructions, supplement brand recommendations, and a week-by-week implementation schedule, click the link in the description below. It's free, and you can download it right now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button now. I release new videos on vascular health and circulation twice per week. The information I share could add years to your life, and life to your years. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Here's what I want to know from you. Which of your symptoms is bothering you most right now? Is it cold feet, heavy legs, swelling, or something else? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every comment, and I often create videos based on your specific questions. The 3 vitamins I've shared with you today are backed by decades of research and have helped thousands of people reclaim their circulation and their lives. Now it's your turn. Commit to 90 days of this protocol. Be consistent. Be patient with the K2. Embrace the niacin flush as proof it's working. And take your vitamin C at the right time. In 90 days, your feet could be warm again. Your legs could feel light again. You could be walking distances you haven't walked in years. That's not a fantasy. That's what the research shows. That's what my patients experience. That's what's waiting for you. Take care of your circulation. Take care of your legs. They've carried you this far. Give them what they need to carry you further. I'll see you in the next video.